to answer any questions over his deployment. The corruption-accused Kotwa missed the first sitting of Parliament just over a week ago. And Rand Water says the extensive infrastructure maintenance project it's working on will help ensure reliable water supply for generations to come. Work on the project, which got underway on Saturday, is expected to take around 5 weeks, during which affected residents in and around Joburg can expect their water pressure to drop and in some instances their taps to run dry. Water tankers are being stationed to mitigate the impact, and Rand Water says once the project is complete, the system's efficiency will improve.
We'll be able to supply water, not just for this generation, even for the next generation. Rainwater is an organization, we've been in existence for 120 years. So now we want to be there for the next generation, for the next 120 years.
Look at your weather. Clear skies in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Joburg will drop to overnight lows of 4 degrees, peaking at highs of 17. Pretoria is at 7 and 20 degrees. Vereeniging is at 1 and 19 degrees. Mike Molapo, Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News on 947. For more, click ewn.co.za.
Absa Insurance understands that your assets are more than just possessions. They matter for the stories they tell. We understand that time matters too. So we offer car and home insurance cover in under 5 minutes with competitive premiums and up to 44% cash back on your car insurance premiums every month. We invite you to write your story with us. Switch to Absa Insurance today. Visit absa.co.za/activate to get a quote. Your story matters. Absa, an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
McCoy, Janssen! Janssen! That's him, Miami! Kinetiza! Bali na Mesigayo! Bali na Mesigayo! Bali na Mesigayo, man! Marco Janssen! Oh, man, that's how the West Indies ended their run, and what a performance this morning from the Proteas. It was nerves of steel, just the best way to describe the Proteas edging the West Indies by 3 wickets. It was a rain-affected Super 8s match on Sunday, technically Monday morning.
Love how the South Africans have just gone under the radar and no one has noticed them. So yeah, South Africa also, now big favorites, winning 7 in a row. So yeah, it's a tough one to pick, but my money will be on South Africa to win. But yeah, if I was a bookmaker, I would say Australia, but hey, I'm a South African, so my money is on South Africa.
Keep away from bookmakers' gift.
Big ups to the Proteas, remaining unbeaten, going to the semi-finals. There's that belief, there's that hope.
Welcome to Cruzelo, to Moses, our goalkeeper coach, and our fitness trainer at Kaizer Chiefs. We, the people of Unabi Nation, Rob, we are fine with Unabi finishing the season in Morocco and playing the final. He can come after that. We'll reign supreme next season.
He's already got a nickname. What a way! What a way! Is he on that flight? Is that him? Patrick, good evening.
Yeah, Marawa, I wanted to tell you about Mr. Ben Rastas. He was in hospital for about 3 weeks. Then last week, the 19th, then he passed on.
Robert, there's one thing, which I admire from you. Robert, you speak your heart, nationally, internationally. Somewhere, something is going to happen just because of you. So, Robert, thanks. You've got a good heart.
Just on behalf of the entire team here, who he made our day.
It's coming down to the wire. That's why we all love sport. You keep your show going. Yes, this is good.
Is that may soul rest in peace. And then to you and all the colleagues that you do have, Patrick, strength to you.
Knocking on heaven's door. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Good evening, Marawa. I would like to talk about our cricket team, the Proteas. Rob, the boys are doing a very, very, very good job. But my concern, Robert, is we are winning the game because of the bowlers. Our bowlers are spot on, Robert. Take nothing away from them; they are spot on. But our betting is not convincing. That's what is going to take us out of the tournament. If you can rectify our betting, I'm telling you, we can go even to the finals and even won the tournament. It's a surprise to some of the countries. And I'm behind the boys, Robert. I'm behind the boys. I wish them well in the semi-finals. Hope they win, Rob, and go to the finals, Robert.
I think we're all hoping for that. Eh? The semi-finals, that big game that we're all waiting for, the 27th of June at 2:30 in the morning. So it's going to be bright and early on the 27th, Thursday morning. Brian Lara Cricket Academy, Trinidad and Tobago. That's the venue, and I fully agree. You know what? They've done well. We're going to give them credit. But hey, the road ahead is still tough, although the trophy is so much closer. Oh man, talking about trophies being closer. I think if you're watching the Euros last night, you would understand. If your name was Luka Modric, it's tears, you were biting your jersey, you were thinking, and you're ready. There's so many things going through your mind that said you're through to the last 16. Imagine just a couple of seconds to go. All it needed was a last kick and then magic. But then, there's a certain gentleman by the name of Mattia Zaccagni. That wonderful last gasp strike, firing Italy into the Euro 2024, into the knockouts. All it took was a 1-0 draw against Croatia. What a game, man. What a game.
It's far and away his best game. He can reach out and touch this now, Croatia.
Calafiori, Fratesi, Calafiori, rampaging here. Zaccagni! Salvation! The Azzurri reach for the skies! And Croatia hit the turf in sorrow! Oh boy! Modric marvel is undone by the zest of Zaccagni.
The zest of Zaccagni. Hey, Peter Drury, please, man. Hey, can we have some more? I fully love that, man. Talking about Luka Modric. When he created European Championship history, he became the oldest scorer in the tournament in that draw with Italy. At the age of 38 years and 289 days, the Croatian captain has continued to produce moments of utter magic.
How often has he delivered? Luka Modric. And Donnarumma gets across. He is vast. The man whose penalty saves rendered Italy European champions has excelled eyeball to eyeball with a penalty taker again and may keep them in the European Championship.
Oh, he's a man mountain, isn't he?
Back in by Sucic and Budimir and Modric! It's astonishing! And it may change everything!
It may change everything, man. The drama continues. In fact, there are two games currently underway. France are playing Poland. It's still 0-0 as it stands. Netherlands are... Listen to this. They trail Austria by 1-0. So Austria, having scored a goal nice and early in the game, it was an own goal, in fact, in the 6th minute. So you're wondering, what does that mean? If it ends this way, the Netherlands would finish in 3rd position on the table. So this is Group D I'm talking about. So they'll finish 3rd, which means that they'll go in as part of a pot of the best 3rd finishers. Then Austria, if it finishes this way, then Austria would top that group with 6 points, and France would come second and obviously qualify for the last 16 with 5 points. So that's how it stands at the moment. We'll keep you up to date with what happens in those games. Denmark and Serbia are going to be playing later on tonight at 9 o'clock is the kickoff. England and Slovenia will again spearhead the chart. So Remember, it's the last round of the group stages, so both of the games get played at the same time to avoid the obvious. Well, no match fixing as far as swimming is concerned, I can tell you that much. So coming up in a few seconds, we talk all things to do with swimming, the Olympic Games. How many days again?
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
I got the juice.
Is Mtokozi Sidube, his Far Post editor, and he's the man with all the juice.
And my question to you, do you think Utumisang Aribonye will also come to South Africa, knowing that he's one key player as well that have been using under Nabi at ASFA? Thank you so much.
What do you know, Teboka? Thank you very much indeed.
He has a release clause that, someone would have to cough up a lot of money, millions of rand to get him. He still has 2 years left on his contract with ASFA Rabat. So he will be really difficult to, get from ASFA because they value him a lot. They just bought him in January from USM Alger of Algeria. So I don't see that one happening.
#MSW. #MSW.
Well, achieving sports equality has been a long-standing goal for South African government, as well as initiatives such as what was then called the quota system in national teams, aiming to address that underrepresentation. However, when you look at sports that hardly get any spotlight, rowing, bowls, yukske, gymnastics, baseball, tennis, swimming, you name them, including hockey, I guess people perceive them as not making sufficient progress towards meeting transformation targets. And it's always just so mind-boggling and also very sad to see such because, let's face it, more than not, those are the codes that are putting us on the global maps and also raking in the gold medals. Historically, that's what's happened. You want gold medals, you want medals at Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games. Go in the water, swimming will produce. But what's happening these days is what we're going to be trying to focus on. The stagnation could have enduring implications, though, for these sports. And with the Olympics just 31 days away, athletes are gearing up for the competition in Paris as we speak. And joining us to discuss the challenges that are faced by the Federation as well as the Olympic preparations are Swim SA President Alan Fritz, a man that I promised would be back with 50 days to go before the Olympic Games. But unfortunately, we were down in Durban for that. We wanted him live in studio, and he's made his presence felt. So, Alan, good to see you again. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Rob, and it's good to be back in on your show. And good evening to Mike.
Yeah. Wondering who Mike is? I'll tell you in a second. Mike is somebody that we should have had a conversation with many, many years ago. I told him this as he walked in. Former chairman of the Amateur Swimming Association of South Africa, Mr. Mike Davy, good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Good evening to you, and thanks for the invitation. And hi, Alan. Good to see you again.
Yeah, sorry. I think something happened with your microphone. I think it almost drowned. We'll do that
Very
again.
appropriate.
You happy to see the president?
Absolutely. I've known him for a long time, since he was a little boy.
Really? Okay, let's leave the stories. Let's delve into, as I said, 31 days to go. You're somebody that is familiar with the territory that the president is in right now. What are your levels of excitement when it comes to swimming, your anticipation, your expectations?
I'll be honest, that's a very, very, it's a very difficult question to ask of me. And it would take a level of explanation that I don't think you've got time for this evening. I've been involved in swimming for a very, very, very long time. But in terms of the immediate question you asked, my interest in what has happened in swimming waned quite a long time ago, and I follow it with just passing interest.
Why is that?
And like I said, it's a very, very complicated, well, it's not so complicated to me, but it's a long story.
Yeah.
It goes back to the, and I'm saying it not advisedly, the so-called unity process that happened in 1992. The swimming unity process is 34 years old. It's 2 years older than the South African swimming unity process. And I was integrally involved in that process. My journey in swimming started when I was a young boy in 1970. I was in Standard 8, what was then called Standard 8, and that was the first time I represented my province, which was then Transvaal, in a largely colored and Indian organization. Swimming has been a fairly prominent black sport, which may come as a surprise to everybody who's listening to this.
Well, I'm shocked.
Colored and Indian swimmers throughout the country, mainly the coastal provinces, but Transvaal joined a few years later, formed a national organization in 1966 called SASWIF. SASWIF had been preceded by provincial organizations that date back to 1933 in the coastal provinces. In 1975, the Black African component formed an organization called SANASA, the South African National Amateur Swimming Association, which was headed by somebody I was proud to call my friend, who tragically died in the second year of the formation of the new body, but don't let me get too far in front of myself. In 1975, a number of, well, it was actually 3 Black African provinces came together and they formed the South African National Amateur Swimming Association. They had been preceded by an organization in Soweto called ASAWAT,
right,
the Amateur Swimming Association of Western Transvaal. They also had a guy called Kane Balapile. He was in Sharpeville in the Vaal Triangle, and they had another body in Pretoria. Like I said, it's a long story. I don't even want to go into the paucity of the facilities. It was absolutely remarkable. It was bad enough for colored and Indians, but they did have swimming pools. There was no policy to build swimming pools in those years. And in 1975, very interesting, which very few people also know, is that the Orlando West swimming pool, which is a 55-yard swimming pool, was built due to the good offices of a hero of the struggle, Father Trevor Huddleston, and a boxer that people have sadly forgotten. Well, I don't know. Maybe they haven't. Jake Tooley. Jake Tooley grew up, well, he lived in Noorgesig, which is adjacent to Orlando West.
Right.
Jake Tooley became the Empire Flyweight champion, which is way before the Commonwealth. The British Empire was known as, he became an Empire Flyweight champion. And him and Father Huddleston, he gave some of the winnings that he had as Empire Flyweight champion, and they built the Orlando West swimming pool, which is a 55-yard swimming pool. So that is where Asawat was mainly centered. Later on, they built swimming pools in Sinawani, in Moletsani, in Jabavu, in Pumble, as the years went by. So they formed an organization in 1975. They were headed by, I forgot to say his name, a man that I used to revere, Monatebe Senokwanyani. He was a young man, a brilliant young man, a sports organizer who believed in non-racial sports like it was his Bible as it was my Bible. Within a very short space of time, SASO's president, who was banned at the time, Morgan Naidu, the late Morgan Naidu, had been banned for 5 years under the Suppression of Communism Act, but largely for his activity in sports and swimming. Morgan, while he was banned, met Manatebe and Lawrence Tabasenokwanyan and those guys. They met at some swimming course in Durban. Morgan immediately started talks about unity. Morgan was also a SACOS adherent. So very shortly after SANASA was formed, they were linked tangentially to the white swimming union at the time, but they very soon realized that Isikrama and his white mob were out to co-opt them. Very, very quickly.
Pause there, Mike, because I need to take a quick break. It's important background information that we're establishing because there's a bigger cause. And that's why we'll have Alan Fritz come through, talk about the journey now moving forward. Maybe even one of the questions I'll ask, Mike, is that if the Olympic Games were happening then, how many black swimmers would be on the plane to Paris?
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
New slots have landed at Lotto Star. Brace yourself for a whole new level of thrills and big wins on our exclusive Wheel Rush slot games like Mysteries of Egypt, Super 25 Stars, Big Size Fishing, and many more. You could win payouts of up to 10 million rand instantly. Exclusive to lottostar.co.za. Your world of live games. Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Experience Food Lovers Market's unbeatable value with a 7 kg potato pocket, a butternut pocket, an orange pocket, a 3 kg onion bag, and a 3 kg carrot bag for 199 Rand per combo. A 1 kg pack of Food Lovers lean beef mince for 79.99 and 2 1-litre bottles of Fresco Lever blended olive oil for 100 Rand. Valid until this Sunday at Food Lovers Market. It's in the experience.
With Jaguar, you know it's the epitome of exuberance and individuality. But did you know it's also available with guaranteed future value finance, where at the end of your term, you can refinance, trade in, or retain your Jaguar? That's worth knowing. Find out more at Jaguar Santon. T's and C's apply, and finance is subject to approval. Jaguar Finance, a product of Westbank, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. NCRC P20.
Listen up, babes. We are onedayonly.co.za, where the deals and discounts are hotter than a brine of Friday and fresher than a fish from Derbs. For over a decade, we've been serving South Africans more than 250 gift deals on the coolest brands, from fitness and fashion to toys and tech. We've got the lowest prices in the country. Sign up to our daily newsletter and download our app for a daily dose of deals at your fingertips every 24 hours. Shop today at onedayonly.co.za.
In today's digital era, internet and broadband data services are essential for consumers and businesses to thrive. Zaltec Telecoms is at the forefront of providing innovative solutions to transform traditional businesses and homes into fully connected digital environments, offering a range of tailored telecommunication services, including fiber, as well as solar power and green energy solutions. Visit zaltectelecoms.co.za to unlock a world of connectivity.
Can you put the rib down and play already?
Just because you're losing doesn't mean you should have an attitude, okay?
Highwayman, you're getting barbecue sauce on the cards.
Whatever. One more and we win. Let's go.
And go.
Okay, you enjoyed that breakfast. Sausage. No, it's crispy. It comes in strips. Pork fingers. No, dude, listen. You have it with eggs. Bacon. Bacon. Bacon, yes! Yes! There we go, bro!
Easy to feed friends and frenemies. Escort. Easy to love.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
I got the juice.
Here's Mthokozisi Dube, he's Far Post editor, and he's the man with all the juice. Give me a bit of background. The two coaches that have arrived in the country so far, who are they?
I think the first one to arrive was Fernando da Cruz, who's obviously the assistant coach, Frenchman. The league title that ASFA Rabat won last season was actually down to his work because he was head coach for the 25 games. And then the other one is the goalkeeper's coach. You pronounce the name better than me.
Hey, I tried, Bob. I was like, hey, Ilyas Mzugi.
Tunisian. He's been working as the goalkeeper's coach for Mauritania. We saw him at the AFCON.
Yes.
#MSW. #MSW.
It is Marawa Sports Worldwide. Good evening. If you're just joining us, wherever you are around the country, the continent, or the world, Alan Fritz is Swimming SA president. He's my guest here tonight. Mike Davy, former SASA chairman, was giving us a bit of a historical background of where the journey started and where we are in terms of this conversation right now. And I think just in summary, what I asked before the break was, here we are today, 25th of June, 2024, 31 days to go before the Olympic Games. If we had to go back in time, how many swimmers of color would be on that flight?
Quite honestly, there would have been a few. But I have to give you this context as well.
Right.
As an organization, SASA at the time, and I think that also was why we were given such short shrift during the unity talks, we had posited a position, a considered position at the time, that swimming, the nature of swimming was such that we were opposed to the participation of South Africa in the Olympics. We knew about the unity talks, and there are lots of nuances. But as an organization, we said, and this was actually in our perspective, it was generous and it was conservative as well. We said, we don't believe that 10 years would be sufficient to get black swimmers, and by that I mean the generic black swimmers, to an Olympics where they will do justice. But we had a position that let's halt all of these tours, and I'm going to be, at this point now, I can be honest about it, and blunt. The only people who benefited out of the Olympics then, and to a 90% degree now, are the swimmers who always could attend the Olympics when they had, who were training in America all those years. Yes. They had every benefit you could think out of society. And we didn't mention it that time. It would have been very churlish of us. But we said, who's going to be losing out here? There were thousands of black sportsmen, cricket, soccer, and everything, as well as swimmers who were never benefited. What is the hurry about getting into swimming right now? Our position was, and I'll wrap it up, was, let's have at least a 10-year moratorium, and that was conservative, because I know swimming. You know swimming. You don't create a swimmer so
not
easily.
Overnight. No.
Our position was anti that. But let me come to the point. At that point, we had people like Mokojo Mota, the guy I was speaking to earlier. Brian Hermanus, who later on became, Brian Hermanus is my contemporary. He was a breaststroker, an awesome breaststroker. Where we got the money, I don't remember, but in 1973, Saswif sent 5 of our best swimmers. And you know, I smile when I think about the male-female debate. That time already we had 4 males and 1 female as our best swimmers, who were sent to Crystal Palace in England to train at one of the top swimming pools in the UK. And Sam Ramsamy shepherded them. He was in the UK at the time, so he sort of chaperoned them at that time. There was a British Olympic swimmer, David Wilkie, also a breaststroker, who also trained at Crystal Palace. David Wilkie went on to become Olympic 100 and 200 meter breaststroke champion. Our champion, Brian Hermanus, and it's not according to legend, used to beat David Wilkie in the pool. And I say this with, I shiver when I say it. Brian is a contemporary of mine.
Yeah.
That was in 1973, in the heart of apartheid. They came back and continued swimming. Brian's breaststroke records in Saswif were broken in 1983 at the Orlando West swimming pool by a young black man, a brilliant swimmer, Mokojo Spencer Mota. He was the only guy to have broke those records. Have stood since Spencer was it. That was in 1983. Then I would like to, I forgot to bring it here today. I've got clippings in 1974 of the most prominent white coach at the time, who had a training session with Brian and a few of our swimmers. And that guy said in 1974, these guys would grace any, he didn't say South Africa, he said they'd grace any Olympic team. So by the time we got to, Mokojo was a bit long in the tooth, obviously, in 1992. But we had guys like Derek Orderson.
I'm just, as I lap this up, I'm wondering, and as he absorbs this, the president of Swimming SA, and again, I thank you for the indulgence, Mr. President. As you hear this, I mean, these are stories that people who are driving right now, stuck in traffic, are listening and saying they would have never heard or known, etc., about them. In the present day, what goes through your mind when you relish the thought of what could have been?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rob, and thanks very much for Mike. As Mike said, we know each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
He was my mentor for all these years when I...
Yeah.
In fact, I've been in swimming for over 40 years, and I found him there.
Wow.
He's 100% right when he speaks about the volume of the black body then, the formation of a unified body amongst colored Indians and blacks, the SWASF and the SONASA amalgamation or merger, the big championship we had in Orlando. I think it was 1982 and 1983, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And he speaks about Spencer and Jabu and the former Director General of Sport, Denver Hendricks, and his brother. Yeah. Of course, former MEC that passed on in the Northern Cape, Brian Hermanas, they were outstanding swimmers, swimmers of color. But we knew that the black body was bigger than the white body, so to speak. And just fast forward a little bit in terms of where we are today. There are a lot of people that's contributed to where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of athletes has made the country proud. Swimming, we mustn't forget, is today the number one federation in this country in terms of podium performance. And you said it, Robert.
Yeah,
I mean, in terms of... and I feel the weight on my shoulders before the Olympics because you see my palms are starting to sweat because the country's expectations on medals is huge and it's on swimming. We can't deny that. But Mike is right in a way that he says, look, we have lost the plot somehow, but as a corporate executive, my job is to manage problems and bring solutions to them. And one of the solutions we're bringing today to our sport is the fundamental growth of the sport. If you just take the period of COVID, every federation had declined. The only federation that's gone up in a time when we were not participating in competitions was swimming or aquatics.
Yes.
Because we made sure that we use the opportunity to communicate to all and sundry involved in aquatic sport, in particular the learn to swim environment, because that's the cradle of swimming. And that's where we're going to change the tide. Because if you look at education institutions today, whether it's public or whether it's private, the profile today, there's more black kids in private schools or today than there were before. And we must make sure that we utilize every platform to change the way we look at sport, and particularly our sport, swimming. Because swimming is more than just providing an elite platform. It's also a very, very big component is teach a child to save their own lives and at least potentially save another life. So today is the debate on elite sport and where we are and the drawbacks. There's no doubt that we, over the last 30 years, has been on the back foot in many ways. If you look at particular the swimming pool where Mike coached in El Dorado Park for many, many years, I don't even think there's a brick existing today of that swimming pool. And I can take you throughout townships in this country where we should be investing in facilities. There is just no sports facilities. In particular, our facilities has been destroyed. Where to from here for Swimming South Africa to ensure not only that we make the sport sustainable, but to ensure that we do teach black kids to participate in the sport of swimming, is that we have a facility strategy. Our facility strategy is a top-down strategy, build high-performance centers, and our plan is to build 5. We've already commenced with the one down in the Western Cape. Discussion is far down the line in Mbombela to build one adjacent to the stadium. Mduzuzi municipality in Maritzburg is very, very supportive. They've earmarked a facility for us. We are keen to talk to the eThekwini municipality to take co-management model in managing the best facility in the country. And so on throughout the country, we want to build this. But we are now rolling out 30 high performing academies at schools. Okay?
Yeah.
We've already rolled out 6 in Gauteng. We've just launched one in Bloemfontein at Central War School. We're going back into Tshwane to one of the schools in North Montana. And so we're going to carry on because we believe to turn the tide, you got to turn it at facilities. Okay, we can't stand on the podium and shout at one another or shout at the municipalities. It's not going to transform the sport.
But
let me just finish this, Rob.
Yeah, sure.
But if you look at the transformation of swimming today,
yeah,
at junior level and at senior level, we have black swimmers, Jaden Eaton and the likes of a boy from Pietermaritzburg and across the country that are very, very close. I mean, Clayton Jimmy could be in the team, and so Jaden Eaton. But I really think Swimming South Africa has turned the tide, and not because we want to sit down and fold our arms and say we've got no facilities. We are driving a strategy that would say we come from an era where black swimming was exceptionally strong, and we come from an era that says that we can do it. We did it without money. We did it without facilities. Mike mentioned that. If Mike tell you a little bit more about our experience at that Orlando National Championships and how we had to make things to make the championship work. And as a leader of a federation today, in a particular aquatic federation, it's in our own hands to drive these things. Nobody's going to do us favors in our country.
And as you drive and you're listening to this conversation, and I've allowed both gentlemen to really indulge us a little bit further because these questions have been asked several times. We haven't had the answers. They probably have the answers. Is what about your kid? What are your expectations? What are you experiencing right now when it comes to swimming and the dreams that you would have had for your child, for the athlete who maybe is already part and parcel of swimming? I mean, we read reports all the time, parents unhappy about this. I think you even had the DA write to you not so long ago. So you have a whole squadron of people who are either happy or not happy. But with the Olympic Games just around the corner now, what's the team looking like? I know that just in terms of numbers, and what are your medal hopes, if again, you put it numerically?
Yeah, let me just, Robert, if you would allow me, talk about swimming. Swimming South Africa is more than just swimming or speed swimming or swimming pool swimming.
Yeah, sure.
We've just, in the last week, have sent under 16 water polo girls and boys overseas, and there's black representation in those teams.
Right.
Under 18s are leaving in a week's time, boys and girls, and there's black representation in those teams. We have 2 girls, black divers, that are phenomenal success stories. And they have participated at world championships already. They've just coming through the junior ranks. They are really hopefuls for us for 2028. We have diving being a Cinderella sport. We have Julia Vincent that trains in overseas. It's the 9th best diver in the world from South Africa, the southern tip of Africa. Producing a diver of that caliber is just unheard of over the last 30, 40, 50 years. We have got 2 black boys from KwaMashu, divers. Phenomenal. So the success stories is across aquatics. They are there. And just to come back to your question in terms of the nation's hopes, is there potential for medals?
Yeah.
I got to play this down a bit because we have come down out of COVID, lockdown, very hard lockdowns where the other nations didn't have such hard lockdowns. We had a huge 18-month catch-up in terms of our training programs. We've just come from competitions, if I just go back, from Senior Africa, World Champs in Doha.
Let me push you for the expectation. I've got to take a break. Just from the team, the makeup of the team, has it shrunk? How many in terms of numbers are going? The split between the men's and the women's?
Yeah, there's always a potential. Our aim is to get our athletes into the semifinals and finals. Anything can happen in a final.
Yeah.
We have athletes that can perform and bring medals. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put my head.
What numbers would be good for?
Well, what would be good for swimming would be 2 medals.
2 medals
would be good. If we achieve 2 medals, we have achieved.
And the women that are going, how many?
There are more women than men.
Yeah.
Tatiana, Kaylin, Rebecca Mida, Erin Gallagher, and so on. And then there's Matt Saids from the boys, Peter Kutsia, Chad Leclau, and so on. So we've got more girls than boys. And our potential for swimming South Africa, the next 2 cycles of Olympics, our potential lies in our girls.
But no relay.
No relay because of qualification. Swimming is a sport of excellence.
Yeah.
You either qualify, there's no wing or center that's going to carry you if you're in the team. You're on your own.
You've been brilliant though at relay before. We'll come back after the break and we'll engage a little bit more, including your calls.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Yeah, we see them rolling, these wannabe players, all the bling in the brands, desperate for the riz on the socials. Here's a secret. With Lulabet, anyone can be a serious player. You get all the hottest table games and slots with easy registration and unbeatable support 24/7, anytime, anywhere, like a boss player. Lulabet, make the score you want with less hustle, less hassle, and more yes. Don't just bet, Lulabet.
Lulabet supports the National Responsible Gambling Program. Winners know when to stop. Only persons over 18 are permitted to gamble. Problem gambling counselling toll-free hotline 08600 006 008.
Dogs are loyal guardians, always by our side. No matter the mischief or adventure, our dogs remain our cherished best friends. When it comes to safeguarding them from parasites, we choose NexGuard and NexGuard Spectra, the most complete range of protection against ticks, fleas, mites and worms, all wrapped up in a monthly tasty chew. NexGuard, because every pet deserves a guardian angel. #Guardians of Love.
Calling all illuminators and bright sparks. Light the way towards a brighter future with Richfield. Join our nationwide open week happening from the 25th to the 29th of June and register for a contact or distance learning degree while you're there. Can't make it? No worries. Take a virtual tour on our website and register online. Visit richfield.ac.za for more details. See you there.
It's wintertime and we know what that means. That's right. Brilliant deals at the Chamberlain's Winter Promotion. Join us from the 20th of June to the 7th of July for unbeatable offers on all your heating essentials. Let our friendly staff help you find the best solution to make your home a warm winter wonderland. And while you're at it, browse our extensive sitewear section for winter-ready clothes. All while sipping on a free hot chocolate while waiting for your paint mixing. Chamberlain's, famous for hardware and bringing you hot deals since 1903.
The world's best cooking show is coming to SABC3. MasterChef South Africa Season 5. You'll meet 20 talented home cooks from around Mzansi, Noma Uphumapi, and no matter your favorite dish. See if the chefs can handle the heat in the kitchen in a race to be crowned MasterChef South Africa. Starts Saturday 13 July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC3, Channel 193. MasterChef South Africa, proudly sponsored by Pick n Pay.
Stay ahead of the curve in style, with special offers on a range of Suzuki models for you to choose from. This is guaranteed to be your best year yet. First car or upgrade? Suzuki's got you. Our cars are lined up and ready to give you more experiences, more fun, and more adventure. Hey, that's one resolution you can tick off, right? Visit suzukiauto.co.za to get more in 2024.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Patrick, good evening.
Yeah, Marawa, I wanted to tell you about Mr. Ben Roster.
Robert, greet you and the doctor with a good heart.
Yes, he's one of our very regular contributors.
He was in hospital for about 3 weeks. Then last week, the 19th, then he passed on.
Robert, there's one thing, which I admire from you. Robert, you speak your heart.
Patrick, just on behalf of the entire team here, he made our day.
It's coming down to the wire. It's coming down to the wire. You know, that's why we all love sport. You keep your show going. Yes, this is good. This is good.
Is that may soul rest in peace. And then to you and all the colleagues that you do have, Patrick, strength to you.
Knocking on heaven's door. I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Oh man, our special tribute there to our regular contributor on the show, Ben Richter, who we were told on air last night sadly passed away. Again, may his soul rest in peace.
Hi, Rob. This is Andrew from Rodipot. Rob, I would like to also contribute on the strong legacy that was left by Mr. Jake Tooley. And as a Sowetan, when we go to or visit, public swimming pools, whether it's in Orlando or Sinawani, we don't call it that, Rob. We actually call them Jake. And the reason why we call them Jake, because of Mr. Jake Tooley, as described by Mike in your studio. He left a very strong legacy for Sowetans, and most of us, we've learned how to swim from those Jakes, Rob. I learned how to swim at Sinawani Jake, Rob. So glad that you're having this topic, and I'm very happy that Mike came to narrate and also resuscitate the legacy of Mr. Jake Tooley. Andrew from Rodipot.
Andrew, thank you so much indeed. Hey, backing it up, if you're just joining us here on the show tonight, let me just tell you who is in studio. And thank you so much indeed, Andrew in Ridderpoort. Alan Fritz, Swimming South Africa president, is here tonight. Mike Davy, former SASA chairman, who has so beautifully narrated a history or a part of our history that has either been forgotten or we never knew. What's your response to Andrew talking glowingly about the fact that he learned how to swim from those Jakes?
Andrew, I really appreciate what you said there because I've been fascinated by the history of swimming. In Orlando, I coached there for many years. We had the first national swimming tournament ever in Soweto in 1983. It was the most amazing experience. I'll never forget it. Rob, if I can just throw in this little commercial. In April, I finished a master's degree and the topic was swimming unity in South Africa. And it's an old man who's doing it. I just turned well into my 60s a few days ago.
Oh, happy belated birthday as well.
Thanks, Rob. There were people, I'm sure Andrew would know people like Lawrence Ratladi, Pramek, Tabo Siyotsanyana, Monateba himself, Fiki Lesoni, Tututu Mgobozi. Those are the guys that did the footwork in Soweto because Pramek and them started in 1975. They are the guys that brought swimming to Soweto and to all the black townships. And boy, oh boy, did they do it under adverse circumstances. And they were employees of the Western Administration Board. But they defied them because the Western Administration Board wanted them to link up with Swimming South Africa then, Isikrama and his cronies. These guys defied them at the risk of losing their livelihood. When we had the tournament, this is just something I'd like to relate, which I picked up while I was doing my thesis. I interviewed Lawrence a number of times. And I take a deep breath. He died during the process. I'm still stunned when, I feel so happy that I managed to interview him, but he died not very long thereafter, which was earlier this year. They were forced by the Western Board because they were employees. They had to link up with the white Swimming South Africa at the time, the South African Amateur Swimming Union, Isikrama and his mob. They defied them, and they forged a relationship with SASWIF, and we united in 1982, and in 1983, we had the first ever national tournament. But what distinguished us at the time? There were soccer matches. White guys used to come in and play, colored guys, but they'd leave at 6 o'clock, or maybe they'd stay for a few drinks afterwards. We had different provinces, children 10 and under, who lived in the heart of Orlando West. This is one of the incidents I related in my thesis. In the morning, on the way to the swimming pool, they would jump onto a donkey cart. And people in the community would say, these little children, who are these children?
What's going on,
And what Lawrence also told me, which is something I thank you for, I won't be long. Lawrence told me, and I only found out when I did the interviews with him, we comrades. They never told this to us. When we were preparing for the tournament, the community turned around and said, who are these coloreds and Indians coming to be in our township? Why are they coming here? It was a very charged political atmosphere. Lawrence and them told him, you're going to see non-racialism like it's never been before. The tournament went off without a hitch. Those guys turned around. We didn't realize it at the time. We had all our functions there. They ate there. They lived there. Because of the work of Lawrence and Monatebe and Fix and all of those guys.
They did, yeah.
We were protected in the township. It is an historic occasion that I want to make it my duty that South Africa should know long before there was unity talks and blah, 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 and Samram, Semi and all of them. We had a national tournament in the heart of Soweto.
And I think the minute they appoint whoever will be the sports minister, the minute any minister is appointed, we'll bring you back because we want to put that pressure on. You mentioned something which I'm sure Nicole in Greenstone wants to highlight. Nicole, thanks so much for your patience. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Like I mentioned, I swear I'm in school, and if I look at my school now, they don't have a swimming pool anymore. But I just wanted to find out, why is it that our top swimmers have to train abroad and then as opposed to what is Aquatics South Africa doing for them now? I mean, how do we bring home the gold and we don't even have a relay team anymore.
Did you get frustrated? How far did you go with your swimming or your endeavors towards greatness in the pool?
So I had KZN colors for swimming, and that's as far as I went as an Indian child, unfortunately. But I mean, I watched the likes of Natalie Detroit went from swimming in the Paralympics to swimming in the normal Olympics. I mean, Roland Skuma and them were my go-to. I wanted to be the next Penny Haynes, but I mean, due to circumstances, that wasn't possible.
But what were those circumstances, though? I know, Nicole. I'll get the president to answer that. What were those circumstances? Because let's not shy away from them. I would want you to bring them to the fore because there could be so many others who were in the same. Yeah.
I mean, if we weren't part of a swimming club, we didn't get the same training. If we trained in school, that was as far as it went, and you pursued it. You gave it your all in school. It was also the fact of money as well and funding to actually go as far as we can go, and that's why I'm saying we've got our top swimmers training overseas instead of in our own country, and they should be mentoring the next generation or the next Olympic swimmers as well.
Nicole, thank you so much. Listen on the radio, please, if you don't mind. An important point, because we've said this before. They train in America. They hop in the water. There's a South African flag attached to it. We celebrate. We say, well done. Well done. But we haven't really, correct me if I'm wrong, contributed towards their growth, their development, and their success.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. It's not actually 100% correct. Up until 2004, Athens, the foursome train in America, posed that if you take swimmers that produce gold, like Chad Leclos, Cameron van der Berg, Tatiana Schoenmaker, Pieter Coetzee, and the Matt Seitz are all locally trained. All of them are locally trained. All medals are locally produced. Chad is most probably the best example, produced out of Durban, by Graham Hill. Fantastic. If you look at Tatiana, another very, very good example, trained out of the University of Pretoria by Rocco Meiring. So post-2004, the strategy completely changed in swimming South Africa, and majority of those medals were locally produced.
But then, again, you mentioned 2004. That was the Athens Games.
Athens Games, yeah.
We have so fewer swimmers now than we had in Athens, which begs the question again as to why the less number of swimmers going when we should be having a broader pool, maybe even a bigger scope and opportunity of getting the medals.
Yeah, also not correct, Rob. If you take Athens, we had about 5 athletes or 6 athletes. If you take Beijing after Athens, 2008, we had the most ever qualifying Olympians, 26 of them. Okay.
No, but Athens this time around.
Athens this time around.
No, I'm just saying the comparison is with 2004, as you mentioned, which was the Athens Olympics. So my contention, and you mentioned the relay team, and I was saying that relays would make a bigger bulk and maybe give us more opportunity, but there's lesser now.
Yeah, there's not actually lesser. There is the standards has improved. Okay, qualifying times. If you look at where we were at our national championship in April of this year, some of our swimmers were the best in the world. If you look where the Australians and the Americans and the Europeans, and particularly the Chinese, are today, the world of swimming moves rapidly. So it's always a catch-up game, but it's not to say they are more. In fact, today, our elite pool is bigger than ever.
But wouldn't the medals then say, yes, you are correct? But if the medals, that's why I was pushing you to say, what are the expectations? So that we can then gauge it on the previous Olympic Games and what swimming gave us then.
Yeah. Tokyo swimming gave us 2. One of the biggest contingents of the Olympic squad brought 3 medals. It was a very, very poor performance overall for the entire South Africa. Swimming 2, if you look at 2016, 2012, we brought 5. So if you really even go beyond 1992 and what swimming contributed to medals, we're more or less on equal par in terms of continuous performance.
Karen, good evening. I think you want to raise something that has been raised by Mike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Robert. I just wanted to say, Mr. Davy in the studio really had a major impact in so many lives. I was part of his squad. He trained me from when I was a little girl. We represented South Africa. We represented Sackers, which was at the highest level. My sister and I, we were known as the Jacobses, Karen and Diesel, and Mr. Mike Davy, and all of the people that he mentioned absolutely played a phenomenal part and made a massive difference in our lives. And it's just a pity that when we sit back, we are a lot older now, we sit back and realize, what potential we had and what we actually missed from opportunity. So my appeal really today is that people listen to what Mike Davy has to say, understand, where swimming South Africa can go back to ground level. They are so better and absolutely do what elite swimmers are doing.
Okay, sorry, man. We're going to have to end it because of the quality of that call. So many people on social media as well just attesting and saying, this is Benjamin Siegel says, Mike Davy was my English teacher at primary school. Says, hey, thumbs up to him. Guys, it's crazy. Look at the time. We're done. It almost looks like we've just jumped into the pool. But we got to quickly get out. Wishing Team South Africa everything of the best. I know that there are many other points we could have spoken about, and I think a lot of frustrations, good points, achievements, successes, setbacks, administratively or otherwise. But I think just trying to marry the two historically has been able to help a lot of people understand where we are right now. And I always say, as athletes, we can do so much more. And there's a great deal of expectations. And South Africans, we want to win. We're a winning nation, and we can. And I think that historical background gave us that understanding that we can. It doesn't matter whether it's land, it's in the air, it's in the water. We can do that. I won't have time for both of you to respond. I know that there's a couple of voice notes I couldn't play. But Alan Fritz, Swimming SA President, I thank you very, very much indeed. Good luck on the journey.
Thank you, Rob. It's always good to be on your show.
We want to have those welcome back celebrations, for the swimmers. Yes, of course. And obviously with one or two of the sponsors that have contributed to the SASCOG process as well. Mike Davy, former ASASA chairman, I thank you so much indeed. A lot of people saying that, wow. They did not know. Now they know. Gentlemen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.